Olá, bom dia a todos. Bem-vindos a mais um webinar da RNBP. Como já terão reparado, desde a Labro reforçou a oferta de webinars para este mês e por isso convido-vos a estarem atentos ao nosso site. Para o webinar de hoje, que excepcionalmente é um pouco mais cedo, tendo em conta a disponibilidade dos nossos convidados, que estão connosco diretamente desde a Dinamarca. Agradecia naturalmente a presença de todos, é um pouco cedo ainda em Portugal para aquilo que é habitualmente aquilo que são os nossos webinars, mas ainda assim agradecer a vossa presença. Para o webinar de hoje, convidámos dois colegas nossos dinamarqueses, dois colegas nossos que têm um projeto relacionado com o turismo, com um conceito que, apesar de não ser muito conhecido por cá, é bastante popular, que é o conceito do biblioturismo, do turismo em torno das bibliotecas. Já há cerca de um ano tínhamos feito uma divulgação na Veja Lab com uma notícia a dar conta deste projeto e dos seus conteúdos e não parecendo que, apesar desta situação atual em que as divulgações não são possíveis, nomeadamente as viagens de turismo, achamos que seria interessante trazer-vos aqui hoje esta oportunidade de conhecermos o projeto do Christian e da Marie. Para ficarem um pouco a conhecer, como eu já vos disse, quer o Christian, quer a Marie, reside na Dinamarca. O Christian, perto de Copenhaga, é diretor de Bibliotecas e serviços ao cidadão no município de Roskilde e acredita que as bibliotecas são instituições cruciais em todas as comunidades, quer sejam públicas, quer sejam de ensino superior. São essenciais porque ajudam a criar um mundo mais diverso, mais inclusivo e mais igualitário. É sempre bom ficarmos a conhecer o lado mais pessoal dos nossos convidados. Christian refere que os seus interesses para além da música são todo o universo em torno da Lego. Ele toca o ukulele, que para quem não sabe é uma versão do nosso cavaquinho, e gosta de jogar a futebol. É apresentador convidado em diversas conferências, quer na Dinamarca, quer no estrangeiro, e naturalmente é o responsável pelo blog pessoal, que nós também já seguimos aqui em Portugal, que é o Libray Planet, e que naturalmente nós recomendamos a sua leitura. A Marie Eriksen trabalha como consultora e estuda mestrado em design. É uma fã incondicional de bibliotecas, apesar de neste momento não trabalhar numa. Colabora regularmente com a IFLA, tanto como membro permanente em comitês de serviços de bibliotecas, como especialmente no comitê específico para pessoas com necessidades especiais, onde está também ligado ao conselho editorial de uma revista especializada nesta temática. Os seus interesses são tudo o que tem a ver com filhos e tecidos. Adora fazer longas viagens e, naturalmente, visitar bibliotecas e museus que sejam dedicados à temática da Segunda Guerra Mundial. É apresentadora, convidada também de várias conferências e workshops em várias partes do mundo, especificamente na temática das pessoas com necessidades especiais. Naturalmente não foi para me ouvirem que estão aqui hoje, ainda que em nome da Veja Lab agradeço a vossa presença esta manhã, e então passava a palavra à Marie Eriksen e à Christian Lauersen para nos apresentarem o seu projeto. Marie and Christian, good morning. Thank you very much to be with us this morning and to share all your expertise and your knowledge about Libray Planet and this wonderful crowdsourced travel guide to libraries of the world. Before I was making an introduction in Portuguese and make a presentation of our two guests. Once again, thank you for your availability and to be possible to share with us all your experience with Libray Planet. I will be out for a minute. I will be listening with very attention, but I will turn off my video and sound. In any case, if something happened, if some problem happened, I will re-enter and try to help you. Have a good session. Thank you once again. Share with us your experience with Libray Planet, and I hope it will be, and no, I'm certain that will be a good and interesting session. Thank you very, very much, and see you in a minute.
Thank you, Bruno.
When you want, you can, of course, try it.
When we want, we
Thank
can
you.
what?
You can start the presentation. I will be out, but I will be on the backstage.
Thank you, Bruno. We're very happy to be here and talk about our favorite library pet project. We're very happy to be asked to come here. And I'm happy to see some familiar names among the people on the chat list. So hi, everybody. I don't know how much Bruno said, but I just want to add, I also play the ukulele. Not only Christian. But Christian, do you want to say a few
That was the
words?
one thing I understand about his presentation.
Yes,
that
me
was
too.
No, not, yeah. So I guess we should just go on. We have been looking very much forward to talking about Library Planet with you guys in Portugal, and I just looked over the side to see how many Portuguese libraries we had, and we could definitely use some more. So we hope you will, whenever we are able to do it again, walk out and visit some great Portuguese libraries and share the library love with Library Planet. I'm not sure how the slides are going to change. Bruno, are you going to change them, or can we change them?
I'll change them. I practiced this with Bruno yesterday.
Excellent. Maybe you should just go on, Marie, then, and tell us about what Library Planet really is.
Yes. So I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to visit the blog and look at it, but very down to basics, Library Planet is a travel guide that exclusively features libraries. It's a crowdsourced blog, so some of the posts on the blog are written by me or by Christian about some of the libraries we have visited, but far the majority is written by people from all over the world. Some of them are, I think we have, I counted, or I looked yesterday, I think we have 125 libraries from all over the world. We have some areas we have more, and some areas we just have a few, like Portugal, so we would really love to have more from Portugal. We have a few writers that will write us continuously and make more posts, and then we have people just write one or two posts if they're on holiday or at a conference in a different country and they want to share some of the libraries that they see there. And we're going to get more into what kind of content is on the posts themselves. Richard. This is a great picture of us.
Yeah, it is. How did it all start with Library Planet? Both me and Marie really love libraries, and one evening we were talking about how great it is to travel and then to visit local libraries, just to see libraries, but also as a gateway to, to know about the different communities of the world. We both see libraries very much being some kind of mirror to the local community that you visit. So whenever we are at a place, either in Denmark or out in the world, we would go visit the local libraries, both to get inspiration as library professionals, but also because we just love to visit libraries, and also because libraries tell something about the certain communities. We both love to just sit down in a library and just see the people go about in this shared public space in a foreign community. So we were talking about how great that was, and at some point during the conversation, some of us said there should really be a Lonely Planet guide to libraries of the world. Often when you're traveling and reading guidebooks, there is library mentioned, but it's often the really big, huge flagship libraries that you meet, like historical libraries or great architecture and stuff like that. And obvious, that is also great and fine, but we really have a great love for common public and academic libraries that just don't stand out of the ordinary, but just makes a big impact in the community. So I tweeted it, there should really be a Lonely Planet guide for libraries of the world. Who is with me for traveling? And the tweet kind of exploded, and everybody was just, I haven't even thought about this. We really need it. It could be so cool. So, we thought that was a fun thing to talk about, and we talked about, should we really do it? And the first thought was, okay, we take leave from our jobs, and then we travel the world and visit libraries, and we write some books and stuff like that, like the regular Lonely Planet guide. But obvious, that was met by some obstacles, so we decided to do it as an online crowdsourced site where everybody in the world could contribute. And then just, I actually think it was the day after, we just put up the site in a WordPress site and wrote a welcome post and published the first library. I can't really remember what was the first, but one of the first was actually the National Library of Portugal in Lisboa, which I had just been visiting that summer. So that was one of the first posts we ever did. I don't think it was the very first, but one of the first. And then then we set up, about site, established an email and some guidelines for sharing library visits, and people just started writing us with stories of visits and posting pictures to us, and we just started putting it out there, and yeah, that has just been going pretty steady since then. So that was basically how everything got started, and then it had like sometimes fast and sometimes more slowly evolved in different direction, but actually over the whole time span been sticking to the core about the site and about sharing library stories and library visits from across the world for other regular people, library professionals, anybody who is interested to get some inspiration about visiting those libraries when they go abroad.
And it was actually,
can we move on?
Oh yeah, it was actually just kind of a surprise for us how many people wanted to contribute from the start. We thought that maybe we, like the first mini post we would have to do ourselves, but I think within the first month we got like 40 or 50 posts from other people, just like, and we couldn't at all keep up with the posts that were coming in the mailbox. And now it's reached kind of a more of a steady pace that we can sometimes keep up with them and sometimes not, because it is still a hobby. We're doing it in the evening.
In the beginning, there was a time it was pretty hectic. We actually published a library every second day and had
we did one every day in the first month.
Yeah. So that was kind of fun, but also kind of hard work to be editors on Libray Planet, and we were a bit stunned about the willingness to share the library love. I think now we have reached a level where things are more normal, and we have a steady flow of libraries coming in, which is a good thing also for our day works and stuff like that.
And our families.
Also that.
Yeah. So. Why do we need Library Planet? Well, like Christian said, when we were looking in Lonely Planet and stuff, you'd see like the big, like the national libraries and the like the big new flagship libraries, and we felt like, well, that's kind of, if you go to Rome and you go to Colosseum, you'll see all the other tourists and like the made-up reality of a place. But if you go to like the little local restaurant, you'll see like the local people and taste the local food, and it's kind of like the same with the library. If you go to a small community library, you'll meet the people of the community and get a feeling of how they lead their everyday life, and we just love that, both of us. So the mission for Library Planet was simple. It was to make traveling for libraries easier, and also to share that joy when you found a really great library. Kristen and I used to just write each other and be like, oh, you should see this library. This is so cool. But we wanted to share that joy with the other people and to get other people's library love stories shared as well. And also, we really
and also
what?
I think recently, I think both of us was a little bit tired about those articles going online with the 10 most stunning libraries in the world. The 10 must-visit libraries in the world, and they were often, really old classical libraries with a lot of old books. Either that, or they were really, architectural flagships. And I like those libraries too, but it was, to the public, it was like, this is the only kind of libraries that there are worth visiting. And we just thought that is wrong. Every library in the world, even really small brick house, one-room libraries is worth a visit, to our opinion, because it says something about the community. In this picture, you see a really cozy library in the middle of Sweden in a town called Unnerud, which I visited last summer, close to a huge lake. And it has a population, the city of Unnerud, of just under 1,000 people, and they just had this amazing little, library that was just so Swedish and extremely popular to the community. And I just thought it was, it just made me connect with the city in another way to actually be visiting that library. And we wanted to show, the face of libraries of the world, that too as a kind of counterpoint to the very popular pieces of the 10 most stunning libraries in the world.
Yeah. And also, we wanted to show how different libraries are. Like there's academic and public and historical and special and governmental, and the museums have really cool libraries, and they're all so different, and they do some of the same things, and then some libraries will do something that's so specific to the community. And it just shows how libraries libraries will mold themselves into answering the public's need in whatever area and subject they're in. And it's just beautiful to see. And besides showing the actual libraries and their services and cool furniture and stuff, we also got to read the stories of why this library was maybe important to somebody. Maybe it was somebody's childhood library and where they learned to read, or maybe they went there for holiday and it was the best place they could go at all because there was a great children's library and there was air conditioning or something. Or maybe they went to the birth city of their grandparents and visited the local collection and found newspaper clippings about their family. So we got to see a whole lot of what libraries mean to people also. And let me tell you, it's the most heartwarming hobby I've ever had. We call the Libray Planet the inbox of love, because every time you open it, it's just bursting over with the people talking about fantastic libraries and how much they love libraries. I'm trying to change the slide.
Yeah, and also we also wanted to, I guess, library folks, to my or our experience, really like to share stuff. They like to share ideas and things they experienced. So we also wanted to give them a platform to actually share great experiences with libraries. And we must really, acknowledge that many librarians or library folks of the world has really taken that into account. What has really made us positive is that it's not only library professionals who has been willing to write in, mostly library professionals or people within the library field, but also regular people who just like traveling and just like libraries has been contributing. That has been really positive because they often have a different view to how a library works and to the experience of visiting a library than a library professional has. Library people, like most, have a certain way to see libraries. Regular users of libraries has a different way of talking about it and see it, and that has been really funny to see those stories as well. So why become a library tourist? I think the reason should be found. We have just touched it a little bit. The reason should be, or the answer should be found in why do we like to travel? Most people like to travel to explore and expand our view of the world, to get new impressions and to just to broaden the picture and open some windows. And if you like libraries, have an interest in the everyday life of a community that we are visiting, it's a great thing to throw into that mix, because libraries often works as a really important and significant public shared place in a community. I also really like to visit parks. I like Berlin a lot because it has a lot of parks, and I like to sit down in the park and just see the regular life of that certain neighborhood, just drift by, and the local ones interaction and playing ping pong or walking the dogs or whatever they're doing. And like parks and other places, sports facilities and stuff like that, libraries are public shared places in communities where the local community interacts and go about, learn and connect, or just maybe sit and be a part of community. And I think that is just a great way to explore and, you know, kind of for a brief moment feel that you are part of that community of trying to understand what this is about. Some libraries are extremely buzzing. So some libraries I visited in South Europe, in Spain last summer, is more, you know, really slow and cozy, and so different. And you know, it's just a great way to experience the communities you are visiting in a different way than when you go to the museums with the other tourists that you're traveling with. So that is, for me, the main reason that library tourism is a great way to see the world.
I also think it's always like you feel when you, as a library person, when you walk into a library somewhere else, like I will always go around and look, and somebody will come up to me and ask me, like, can I help you? And I'll be like, I'm a librarian, and they will like nod, like knowingly, oh yeah. So you're part of that international community of librarians as well, that that go around snooping in each other's closets. And also you kind of, even though you don't understand the local language, maybe you kind of understand the library language. So you'll see somebody helping somebody, and maybe it's that person, or maybe it's like a small family, but you kind of understand what's going on. You understand the interactions, and it's just yeah, it feels like I always feel like it's kind of a global network, and you kind of fit right in right away when you're into a library. Yeah.
Yeah, the global librarian community I find is really strong, and I never tried to go up to a reference desk and say, hi, I'm a librarian from Denmark. Could you tell me something about this library? And people just kind of jumps up and show you around and open the doors and take you to the basement to see the secret collection and stuff like that. There's just a huge eager to, you know, to open up the libraries to peer professionals and connect really. So that is, you know, just a really nice experience about visiting libraries as well.
Yeah, and I find, especially if I say I'm writing a post for Library Planet, people will be like, oh, you're writing about a library, and they'll like get the manager and they'll get the picture. It's super fun. And also for me, I like to like snoop, like professionally snoop. I've worked with accessibility for so many years, and to see like the different solutions and the different programming in different libraries, and that's so valuable to me to be able to see what are they doing in a small community library in New Zealand, or because some of things may be exactly the same and some of the things may be vastly different, but can be inspiring when you're, so from a professional angle also, I think it's given me so much to go to libraries myself, but also to read posts that other people have written, depending on their view of the place, of course. So how does it work? Yes, how does it work? Anybody can write. We often people ask us, can you write about your own library? And we say, yes, we can write about your own library, but we don't want a post that's like, we have so many books and so many square meters and so many loans per year. We want to know what it's like to be in the library. So the like the practicality of it is, you just write us an email at the Library Planet, to the Library Planet inbox, and we want to hear about, well, basically all the same thing that's in a normal travel guide. Like, we want to hear about like what it feels like, or does it have any special features, or was it difficult to get there, or do they have cool art or cool projects or events? Is it a super nice cafe? Do you have to, like, is it like, do you want to go just for the coffee, or is it like anything that stands out and pops out, or you think is especially nice. That's the kind of stuff we want to hear. And then we want pictures. We love the pictures. We love to see libraries in all the other parts of the country and see how they're all beautiful. They're all so beautiful. And then we also want to see people. It's fun to see people interacting in different libraries. And then one of us or both of us will do a little editing to the text and pictures to fit the format, and then we'll go a little back and forth if it needs a lot of editing, and if not, we'll just post it. And that's basically it. And we'll post it to the blog, and we'll usually share it to Twitter, and we also have an Instagram. We'll share it there, and then it's part of the library love planet. Or you get the fun one.
There's some libraries that we are extra happy about getting featured. Well, I guess the first question is we really know, because every library is important to a certain community and are very welcome on Library Planet. But that said, there's still some types of library that we are a little extra happy about getting featured. And as we talked about earlier, it is not the huge flagship architectural wonders of the world libraries. It is more the really small, more or less common libraries in rural parts of the world that just make an impact on the local community. This picture is from a library in French Polynesia, and it was one of the first posts, I guess. It's just a wonderful little piece, and the library is in a small house that it kind of looks like if it's too windy, then it will fall down, and everything is collected in the local community, and and it just, you can just feel the eager to make a difference to the community through that little library in that little local community in French Polynesia. So we are really happy about those libraries that can really show the diversity of libraries of the world. Obvious, we are also happy about libraries that has a public accessibility. Some kind of special libraries are extremely cool and important, but if you can't really visit them when you go travel there, some of the point go missing for regular people. Some school libraries are not that accessible either. They're very welcome on the site because they can still be inspirational, but we really like libraries that you can actually go visit and actually go inside and experience yourself. That is one of the points with Library Planet, that you should be experienced and inspired to visit some of the parts of the world. And then I think it's important to say that we don't want this to be seen as reviews of libraries. We don't want any libraries to be ranked above others or compared or anything. We want to see this as stories about libraries, experience about visiting that certain libraries at that certain point that can be inspiring for other people. So some people has when they're reading us, taken this as a kind of a review, but like when you have a restaurant visit and stuff like that. But we don't want to see it that. We mainly want to see it as a exactly. We mainly want to see it as like a library love story and experience, something that can connect. And it's okay to be actually critical, because you can learn a lot from failures around the world too. But we mainly see that people are really in a positive mood, and that is also the way we want to keep it real. But also we don't want people to write we don't want any libraries to be trashed on Library Planet. That's not the point about it. So basically that is the kind of libraries that we really like to get featured. We have a different kind of huge flagship libraries too. One of the really big ones, and that is really cool too. And people really like to read about it, and you can get a lot of experience. So they are also very welcome. But we always get really happy when we just get a really small library from somewhere in the world that we haven't really thought about ever. So yeah.
Yeah, and that you're not that you don't have the possibility to read about somewhere else. Like
Exactly.
if you wanted to, I don't even know if we have do we have a post for the Black Diamond in Denmark, the National Library?
No.
No, no. But if we did, like we would of course love to, but you can read about that in many other places. And we really love to highlight the libraries that you can't just find information about, that you can't find in articles from Forbes or Architectural Digest. So we want to show the diversity of libraries. And sometimes the big libraries also do that. Like this, so a new library will do something completely different and wonderful and be an inspiration to everybody. But the small libraries do that as well. They're just not highlighted as often. So what are the future plans for Libray Planet? Well, right now, we actually were planning a trip, well, a tour at least, with some of the people who's also been writing for Libray Planet. And we of course don't know if we're going to be able to do that anytime soon. So we'll have to for the time being, share the libraries that we've already visited. It's always been a plan to do some kind of road trip or travel together and maybe invite other people. But we can't do that right now. So we also talked about making a book when we have enough libraries. Make a selection of the most diverse and cool and fun libraries, and maybe crowdsource a book. But as this is our hobby, it's kind of we'll do stuff as it comes along. We don't have like a business plan for Libray Planet. It's like a little ray of sun in a busy work day. We have some fun library. We have of course other fun library projects, but this is mostly for fun. So we'll do stuff as we have time for it. We always talk about doing like stickers and t-shirts, and we also talked about doing a Libray Planet song on ukulele, but we haven't had time for that either. So, but the book is like the biggest wish, and a Libray Planet road trip with some other library people. That would be super great.
Yeah, and then there's on the side there's a map of libraries featured on Libray Planet, and it's kind of an embedded Google Maps, and it's always a kind of technical fuss to get around it, and we also wanted to make it more interactive, so you can actually click on the map and go directly to the post or something like that. And we tried different stuff. Maybe it's just because we are not that technical keen on WordPress or something like it. I don't know. Maybe it's just a time issue for us, and maybe it's the combination of it. But we still have an ambition to get that map to be super fly and useful. It's getting a lot of traffic. It's obvious. It's a great way to get the scope of Libray Planet, to actually see all the libraries in dots and the whole world map, and then actually go to see. I want to have a view over the African libraries. Oh, there's one in Ghana. I want to check that out and stuff like that. So it will be a great way to interact with the content of Libray Planet and go about the different libraries that is featured. But right now it's kind of a sorry state of a map.
Yeah.
So we have an ambition to be better at that part.
Yeah, that would certainly make the road trip planning a little easier.
It would.
If we had a good overview. So if there's any WordPress whizzes listening, we'd love to help. Do you have anything else, Christian?
Can you hear me?
Nope.
No?
Yes, okay.
Gonna go to Hora. So thank you for listening. And hi, welcome back, Bruno.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay, great. Christian, Marie, thank you very much for sharing. I suppose that at this point we all want to travel quickly to see more wonderful and worldwide libraries that we want to visit. For now, we have to read all your posts and read all your entries at the Libray Planet blog and mentally travel around the world to visit the libraries that you have described and for us at the blog. Now, as usually, we can put some questions to Christian and Marie. Of course, that if you want, you can write it in Portuguese and then I will translate it to English. I will go back to Portuguese, okay, for a few minutes, okay?
Ok.
Se nesta altura quiserem colocar alguma questão a Christian ou a Marie sobre o projeto, sobre a forma como é possível de participar no blog, como é que podem escrever. Eles já explicaram que a ideia não é fazer autopromoção das nossas bibliotecas, mas é partilhar uma experiência como se fosse um guia de viagens tradicional, em que se possa apelar à participação de outros viajantes de bibliotecas. I will try to read some of the questions that the participants had put on the chat box. A lot of thank you messages and thank you for sharing. But you have a question. A colleague, Ana Pereira, is asking, how do you contact the library that you want to visit and then write about it? Do you previously contact and inform them that you're going to visit the library, or you just pop up at the library and then you take some notes for later to write an entry at the blog?
Well, I don't know if we do it the same way, but I will just pop into a library. Like, I will just go in and then kind of read the room. If it's just like a quiet place, not a lot of people, I'll maybe just go around and look a little. If there's staff there, I will always go up to the staff and say, hi, my name is Marie, I'm a librarian, I write for this blog. Is it okay for me to take a few pictures? And sometimes they'll say, yes, just not with any kids, or don't get people's faces or something. And like I don't want to do anything in the library that's not cool with them. And then usually they will just be, oh yeah, that's great, and can you send us a link to the post? And maybe they'll give me some information about the library or a small tour or something. That's very different. Sometimes somebody will like just drag you on a tour for 2 hours, and that's great. And sometimes they'll just be, yeah, just go around and make yourself at home. So it's very different. But I don't contact the libraries before. I just go there. It's not a job. It's part, like, I'll usually do it when I'm on vacation. So it's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I do exactly the same. It's mostly, you know, sometimes I send it to them, sometimes they find it themselves and then they write thank you or how that is great and stuff like that. So it's mostly, if there would be a connection, it's mostly if I talk to the library staff that is on duty when I'm around the library. And sometimes they have been really nice on sending additional information for the post, or maybe some, you know, I visit libraries which has been doing refurbishment, and so they have been sending pictures of how the old libraries was looking, which is fun in a post to actually, you know, compare what they have been doing. But I never get allowance or check in on them before visiting.
Okay, thank you. And a surprise, we have a colleague from Portugal that has visited your library, Christian.
Oh.
You have a colleague, it's called Dulce Freitas, and she said that in the year 2000 she visited your library and have very good memories of the visit that she made at your library. So you have contributed to promoting Libray Planet before Libray Planet. And we have an invitation if you want to visit Sintra Public Library in Portugal, a very beautiful
saw
city.
2 invitations, so I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that after this COVID-19 situation, we will get a lot of invitations to travel to Portugal and to visit and to write about Portuguese libraries. I don't know if there is any questions. Não sei se alguém quer colocar mais alguma pergunta ao Christian ou à Marie. Enquanto pensam, as they think in another question, and to be clear and to motivate Portuguese librarians to write about. If they want to write about the library, they just have to write an interesting and motivated and promoting the visit and the knowledge about the library and send it to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, we have a.
Sorry.
Go on, Marie.
There's on the blog. There's a page about how to contribute with the email address and what kind of information we would like, and so if you go onto the blog, there's like instructions to follow, but not that many.
Okay, good. That's good. I will talk a little bit in Portuguese now. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Just if you want to write about your own library, it's still okay. Just make sure to focus on the experience.
Yeah, of course. Okay. That's always good to remember. I just want to say, and I'm going to say in Portuguese, that we only have one entry of a Portuguese library, that is the National Library in Lisbon, but I'm going to reinforce the idea in Portuguese. Estava a falar com a Marie e o Christian e a dizer que a única biblioteca portuguesa que tem uma entrada no Libray Planet é um texto que o Christian escreveu quando visitou Lisboa e é uma sua experiência do contacto com o edifício, com o espaço da Biblioteca Nacional de Portugal. Portanto, temos aqui um desafio num país que nos últimos anos tem redescoberto a sua vocação para o turismo, sem ser com sentido de autopromoção, claramente, nem falar sobre os metros quadrados ou sobre as coisas fantásticas que a biblioteca tem, mas de convidar à visita e ao usufruto e à experiência no espaço da biblioteca. Portanto, temos aqui a responsabilidade de poder promover as bibliotecas públicas e nós temos edifícios fantásticos, com experiências fantásticas de utilização, que podemos colocar aqui também partilhar essa experiência. I was reading the chat box and Inês was saying that Serralves Foundation in Oporto, in the north part of Portugal, also have an entry at Libray Planet. So we have two library services that are registered at the Libray Planet. So we want 3 and 5 and 10. Let's write about Portuguese libraries as an experience. Don't forget that, please. So if there aren't no more questions, no more comments to the webinar of this morning, well, we have the contacts of the Libray Planet, the Instagram, the hashtag Libray Planet, and of course we have the contacts of Christian and Marie, and I'm certain then after this webinar we will be it will be okay to get back to them and ask for more opinion, guidance, and learn more about their project Libray Planet.
Of course.
Some of the guys are writing. Let me see if there are questions or comments. We have 2 people writing. Nope, I think not. Okay, thank you so much from Celia also, and Dulce, and all the people is saying thank you. Okay, well, Marie and Christian, do you want to say something more about the Libray Planet? Do you want to complement your presentation with something more? Do you want to add something more?
I just want to say thank you. It was excellent talking to you.
No,
Yes,
now we
thank
have
you for-
another kind of invitation. Marie and Christian in Portugal. Celia wants to hear you play the ukulele.
We're gonna have to make a road trip and concert.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting us. We had fun.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thank you for sharing with us. We have write an entry at the National Library Network blog about a year ago. For coincidence, we have write an entry about Libray Planet and presenting Libray Planet. And when we was thinking to increase the offer of webinars in April, your was of course one of the first thoughts that we have. So thank you for sharing. And thank you for your availability this morning to be with us, connecting Portugal and Denmark also through libraries. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Obrigado também aos colegas portugueses que estiveram connosco hoje, aqui nesta manhã. Não se esqueçam, por favor, de preencher o questionário de avaliação. Obrigado e bom dia. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Christian. We see around you on blog, social media, and of course on the Libray Planet website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.